So then when we get into why a lot of men womanize, or why it's just they're minimizing a woman based off of who she slept with or who she potentially can sleep for, because it's like you haven't gained the appreciation of the wholeness of a woman yet.
You know, I have been married for 24 long years. I have 4 children, 3 adults, 1 17-year-old. I have 6 grandchildren. I have fought the good fight. I have stayed through it. Sacrifice, commitment, the legacy. I'm able to see the fruits of my labor, right? But in today's time in social media, you have so many people now that are relationship counselors and gurus, and they're telling people how they should move in relationships when they don't even have a relationship themselves. They're not even married. They haven't shown the ability to actually obtain and maintain a long-term relationship, to be out here giving advice. Well, you know, we talking about, so what are you talking about, George? I'm talking about tonight's conversation with Ace Metaphor and Keita Rose and Trip Fontaine and Kitty Rose and all these people. Like, they got this big show and they traveling all around the country and they filling up arenas and giving all these people advice. The funny thing is, people like me around the country and other married folk in the church, out the church, wherever you are, whether you're in church or not, right? When we give advice, nobody wants to listen. But these people, this thing gets to be a joke. So Ace Metaphor, he goes on to Cam Newton's show, and he's talking about relationships. And mind you, the whole tonight's conversation thing fell apart because we found out that none of them was living the life that they claimed that they lived, right? They all start telling on each other. They all was backdooring each other and doing a whole bunch of stuff. But he went on to he went on to Cam Newton's show and made a fool of himself. He already showed us who he was. Let's go visit Cam Newton's show. Let's look at some of the foolishness that he was saying while he was on there. Check this out.
Is not an accident. Do not disrespect me by allowing those words like it just happened. No, it was a choice. You made a choice to not only hurt me, but you made a choice to disrupt and destroy our family, my self-confidence, my mental and emotional stability. You made that choice. And if you're going to argue me and say, no, I didn't make that choice, I wasn't even thinking about it. What you mean? You wasn't thinking about me? That's even worse. Because if you didn't think about me when you was hugging, rubbing, and licking and sucking on that other person, how the f you think I feel about that?
You're rocking that thing, like you're carrying yourself with so much elegance and grace. It's like, dang, like, that's dope. But one of the things that...
Can I just say this real quick?
Please.
Just to separate this. I'm separating you from this conversation.
Okay.
A lot of men, a lot of heterosexual men don't like women for real. They don't. They like women sexually, but they don't like women. They're not attracted to what a woman is outside of her sexual organs. So then when we get into why a lot of men womanize, or why it's just they're minimizing a woman based off of who she slept with or who she potentially can sleep for, because it's like you haven't gained the appreciation of the wholeness of a woman yet, and what that wholeness of a woman can bring to your life. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we'll talk about strength and we'll say men are stronger than women, but that's because we value physical strength. We're not talking about emotional strength, spiritual strength. Yeah. We're not talking about the type of strength that can run a household. And we're not putting that same type of weight. And what I would encourage, and this was the shift that I had to do, is I had to start liking the wholeness of a woman outside of sex. And then when you do that, now you appreciate the things a complete woman can bring to your life.
Ace is a joke. And Ace says things that sounds good to lure people in, because we know the social media now is about the character that you can create. You can be, you can create this character, be charismatic enough, be a great speaker, and you can gain an audience, and people are coming to listen to you because they peep the weakness in the game and now they exploit it, right? So he's saying that men don't appreciate the fullness and the respect of a woman. Well, that may be some men, but that's not the majority of most men. When I was growing up, we got along with women a lot, right? Now, we had, in a fallen state that our communities are in, we have the way that we treat each other at times could be wrong, but for the most part, we got along. We got along. You were the one on the road cheating on your wife and coming doing shows to double talking. That's what you was doing. Right? So now you're trying to get back into the good graces of your wife by coming on shows and saying all this stuff down, because he knows that women fall in love with the things that they hear. We fall in love with what we see. right? He knows this already. So now he's saying all these things now to try to get back into the good graces because you done got outed for all the cheating and all the disrespect that you was doing to your wife while selling the product to women about being this good guy and trying to understand women. Well, the only way you're going to really be able to really appreciate each other as a couple is to be with each other and walk with each other and walk under God together. Right? You're gonna have to go through the ups and the downs and all the hardships, the love, the pain. All that has to be combined in order to fully understand and love and respect the woman, and the woman to love and respect you. You have to go through those things, because once you leave from under your parents, you have to now cleave to your woman, and y'all have to merge all that stuff together. So y'all have to go through things in order to get to that part. So you can tell that to anybody. You can't tell that to me. You can't tell it to me. I'm listening to this stuff and I'm like, yo, I can go online, I can come online with my wife and just say a bunch of this garbage and make a whole lot of money, but I got integrity. But Keita Rose was because she wasn't getting paid, she started blowing the whistle and exposing everything. And she been coming online, really going in on Ace Metaphor and a lot of them people on tonight's conversation by saying this.
Aside from all the women that, like the fans that would sleep with Mojo Jojo, because this is when I found out that tour life means a lot of effing is going on. A lot of boot scooting boogieing. So aside from all the women that he would sleep with on tour, he would sleep with, his assistants. So I met one of his assistants that let me know that he get down. Got a couple kinks as well. I'm not shaming it, but it does involve throw up. So after every show, we like to go out and eat, celebrate. And I remember being in Dayton, Ohio, and talking to his wife and basically telling them that they had amazing husbands because I seen them do their job and go home. And they really showed me that married men can absolutely be in front of a whole bunch of women that are open and ready to pop it up, to pop it out. They can see that and say, what I got at home is more precious, and go to their hotel room and not be frazzle-dazzling in the lobby. And this is where I learned that cheating on your significant other or your spouse doesn't only hurt your significant other, but it really makes everybody around the situation feel uncomfortable. Because as I'm speaking to these ladies, his girl comes up and says, well, what about Mojo Jojo? You're saying he's faithful. What about him? So I would like to take a poll. If you knew that your boss was unfaithful and at the company Christmas party, his wife asks you, what are you going to say? Are you going to tell her the truth, or are you going to say, yeah, he's absolutely faithful. He's just like the rest of them. He's doing good. Well, if your answer was not the latter one, because mine was, I looked at her right in her face and I was like, he is faithful. Yeah, he really loves you. I didn't know what else to say. I did not want to lose my job.
So Keita went on like basically a tirade exposing everybody. I mean, she was going in on Kitty Rose, talking about she eat booty hole, and she was with all these different men, and these men were leaving her, and she was not who she said that she was. Now, because she was on there being like the voice, her and the guy Trip, they was like the voice of reason and giving all this good advice. But Keita, who I thought was crazy as hell too, was really starting to expose her, right? But on the Cam Newton show, Ace Metaphor, he started talking about relationships and how, he was asked, was he poly? And he said no, but he liked to be with one woman, but he liked to have the ability to explore other women, right, with his wife. And they asked, well, could your wife explore other men? He said, well, I didn't get that far yet. You know what these people remind me of? A bunch of cornballs that was in school, right, that wasn't cool, was socially awkward with women, wasn't able to get the type of women that they wanted. But the internet now has created a platform where you can become a character, because on the internet you can be the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. You can be anybody if you're charismatic enough, right? And he built the audience. Now he has access to coochie. He has access to all the coochie he has ever wanted, right? And now you start to see a lot of these people unravel. The more and more they talk, because you can see that they never, in their younger years growing up, they never experienced these things. So as they get older, it starts to taper out. They start to balance themselves out. They start to mature out of all those wild fun stages. No, these guys are in their 30s, going into their 40s, and they still doing stuff that they should have been doing when he was from 18 to 25, 18 to 30. They still carried on in these still type of behaviors, right? Having these dumb conversations. Us grown folks, we already know this. So I know that this guy was a cornball up until the internet, right? And he found the niche. But he also went and he started talking about this. Check this out.
And I don't want to do wrong no more. These are the lessons I'm learning in order to not be wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are you poly?
No. Well, I'm not poly in the sense that I want 2 active, full relationships.
What do you mean?
I don't want multiple girlfriends.
What do you want?
I want one girlfriend, one wife with whom we can explore sexual relationships with other people.
And I can hear the comments now.
Uh-huh.
Can she explore other relationships with other men?
Other men?
Yeah.
I ain't got that far yet.
So,
but the older I get, the less opposed to it I am. It depends
on
the arrangement.
So you're dating this girl and she says, hey, I want to venture off. I seen a dude that, you know, I gave him, I'm being full transparent. I gave him my number. I know what is.
In my mind, let's back it up. In my mind, I'm thinking about a sex party. I'm not thinking about that deep. Like now I'm thinking about in terms of being in a relationship where you comfortable, you got trust or whatever.
Yeah.
We go to a sex party, you go your way, I go my way. Then I'm not tripping. But I don't know if I'm getting to that point.
But you're good. You go to a sex party and you go one way.
See, I be too worried about who I'm to worry about who she.
That don't make sense to
No,
me.
yes, it do make sense.
Make it make sense.
I'm over here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy my fuckitude.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more worried about that than I am about what you're doing over there, if that was part of our agreement.
You spoke about it before, and the thing about most men,
mm-hmm.
and I'm speaking to me
mm-hmm.
at one point in my life, it wasn't that I cared what another woman did, but if I'm giving you a version of me that a lot of people aren't getting, women,
mm-hmm.
I don't want another man to have what I want. You know what I'm saying? And there's a control that you feel like you're mine. And that's not fair.
Let the OG give y'all some game for a minute. Because the internet has created this idea, right? That's not real. You're living in a virtual world, right? Outside, well, on the internet, they talk about these women that got all these bodies. And they talk about these men holding women accountable and holding men accountable. You got the red pill. You got the pink pill. For years, I've been online arguing with red pill guys and pink pill women and going back and forth, right? And I stopped. And this is the thing. Everybody's doing the same thing. For every woman that's out there frisbeeing the coochie away, there's an available dick somewhere to actually be inserted into it, right? So when the guy's a dog, right? There's available woman in order to provide the service. We all out there engaging in casual sex. We all out there doing these things, right? Without the accountability. And when accountability comes knocking, everybody act like they don't understand, right? So you got what you have here is relationships in marriage. It's not something that's promised to you like life or death. It's something that you got to fight for. There's a struggle, there's love, there's sacrifice, there's commitment, there's work, there's everything that you got to do in a relationship. And most of y'all are out there lazy. Y'all rather take the shortcut, and by the time you finish with your shortcut, you got 200 bodies. You done been boat raced by hundreds and hundreds of guys, and in your bad choices in men, you haven't acquired the love that you thought that you think you deserve. So now you blame men for everything. But the reason why you don't have it because you were selfish. You never wanted to sit down and actually be willing to sacrifice, be committed to something. Fight the good fight. Go through the hardships, go through the love, go through the experience, right? And then the men, you're selfish. You're jumping from bed to bed to bed to bed to bed to bed to bed, looking for a fictional love that don't exist. That's what you've been conditioned to do. What really is a punishment. Because you are selfish. and lazy, and you're not willing to sacrifice and work this with one woman. Work this with one woman. So now you get online and relationships are bad. Don't get married. I'm good all by myself. I don't need nobody, which we know is a lie, because all y'all get lonely, right? And then you say, well, don't get married. Marriage is a scam, but you still gonna go have sex. You still gonna make babies. So now you say marriage is a scam and you still having sex and making babies. So what type of structure is that child gonna be raised up in? Who's gonna be raising these children? Oh, well, we're gonna co-parent. Well, how can you co-parent when you can't even maintain great relationships? How? Inside the bed, y'all dynamic, but outside the bedroom, y'all gonna mental misfits, social misfits. Y'all don't get along. So then what you do, you gravitate towards these people because they peep the weaknesses in the game and they exploit you. They exploit you because they know that you're just like them. And they can say certain things to your ears and it sound good and it makes you feel good. It's like going to church on Sunday when the preacher's saying the devil's been whipping your butt all day. You up there dancing, he playing that tune, doom, 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 doom. And he telling you things you make him feel good. You catching the Holy Ghost, and then as soon as you walk out of that church, you walk right back into hell again. Because you refuse to deal with the issues. And you refuse to not be selfish. See, what I said to you, me being married for 24 years, I made a choice to stay. I made a choice to sacrifice. I made a choice to love when it was hard. I made a choice to love when it was easy. I made choices. That's what I did. Y'all, you on the other hand, you're selfish out there. And you speak against marriage. You speak against relationships because you're regurgitating what you hear what these fools are saying online. That's what you're doing. And you're looking at other people's relationship and you're gauging that as to how your relationship would be instead of being your own woman or your own man. Because what they got going on ain't got nothing to do with you. The problem with you is you are selfish. And you only care about yourself. And that's why you lonely. And that's why you got the guy to come over and bang the crap out you. And when he leaves, you feel bad about yourself. You feel low. You feel like, I know how it is. You let that guy come over and then rip your guts out and then walk out the door. And you try to act and put on a good show like you feel good. But you don't. You don't feel good about yourself. Because you know what you're doing is wrong. And a lot of you guys out there, you out there just having it your way, right? Partying, jumping from bed to bed to bed, but making all these babies. Now you mad at the world. Now you mad at all your baby moms. But ain't nobody make you run into those women. You chose to do that. There's no accountability on either side. That's why I'm not pro-black woman or pro-black man. I'm pro-black people. And I hold all of y'all accountable. And I tell the truth. Because most of you out there continuing to lie to yourself and you listening to these idiots. And that's why you in a condition in the state you're in now, and it won't change because you're selfish. Then that's why Ace Metaphor can flourish. I'm going to cut this video short right here. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.